Welcome back to Mass Effect Jenkins Edition. We are on part 7. As per usual, links to the original down below. And here we go. Jenkins. I double-checked the heatsink on my rifle and pistol, ensuring there were no faults or errors of the weapon itself. I had fitted into some of the Alliance combat armor, lightweight, as I wasn't trained in anything heavier caliber of armor available to some soldiers. Of course, that all tracked well enough. Jenkins was likely meant to be the engineer class, focused on mechanical interface and pistol weaponry. Light armor was the only option available for that class in the game. I looked around to see Caden doing the same thing as me, but wearing the medium class of armor. He was a sentinel, according to the original game, but excellent tech training. Powerful support combination. And then there was Shepard. She was calm and collected. Her N7 armor, a heavy-duty model, combined with her ability as a biotic, meant she would be the Vanguard class. Honestly, there couldn't be better of a combination for deployment. Two different versions of support aiding the powerful frontliner in combat. Shepard was aware of that, coaching Caden and I quickly in the signals she wants us to use our support skills on. Nothing complicated, following hand signs is common training in the Alliance. These are just a few unique commands for us to keep an eye on. Mine mostly focus on shields and dampening abilities, while Caden keeps an eye out for commands for barriers and stasis. Of course, rules of engagement in active combat, we are free to make our own judgment calls, just must also be prepared to follow orders when given. We are all feeling as prepared as we could get as we felt the ship hit the atmosphere, barely more than a shake in the hull. Engaging stealth systems, Joker's voice rings out over the comm here in the cargo hold. It takes a moment before his voice rings out again, likely the amount of time it took to close the distance to the dig site the beacon was found. Somebody was doing some serious digging here, Captain. Anderson steps up, speaking to Shepard. He gives the official command. Your team's the muscle in this operation, Commander. Go heavy and head for the dig site. What about survivors, Captain? Caden's concern can be heard in his voice, but the question is one of our mission priorities. Helping the survivors is a secondary objective. The beacon is your top priority. Caden gives a nod in response, stepping back into line. The hangar doors open wide, showing the ship's position hovering over top of the colony site, roughly 100 meters in the air. Joker's voice rings out again. Approaching drop point 1. I turned to Nihilus as I watched him shoulder his shotgun and step forward. I knew what was about to happen to him, and once again I hesitated. Swearing in my head, I figured I gave it a chance, even if it's the only one. Nihilus, you need any backup for this one? We don't know what we're dropping into. Even a Spectre can be surprised on their own. Please request we drop with you, Nihilus. The only shot you have of living through this is us. Have faith, kid. I move faster on my own. Only Shepard would be able to keep up anyway. It's the only response he gives before stepping forward and jumping from the open hangar door. I watch as he falls from view, knowing it's the last time we'd see him alive. Nihilus will scout ahead. He'll feed you status reports throughout the mission. Otherwise, I want radio silence. The captain's orders ring hollow in my ear. I acknowledge them, but I'm not truly listening. Nihilus wouldn't be the first person I would meet who would die. Over the next 3 years, countless lives will be lost in a war to come. And I was going to try to live through it all. The guilt would have to guide me, lead me to succeed in saving as many as I could. But again, a moment of fear takes me. What would I even be able to do? Shepard already saved as many as possible throughout the games. How could I possibly raise those numbers? We've got his back, Captain. Shepard's voice shakes me to attention as her hand slaps me on the shoulder, bringing me to attention. She gives me a look, bringing me back to the moment, and I nod before correcting my stance. There will be time for doubts and fears later. We had a mission to survive first. Our helmets seal up, making the suit airtight. While Eden Prime has breathable air, the risk of chemical or biological attacks from unknown threats is always a risk. So, sealed suits are standard procedure in every combat environment. Anderson's voice calls out once more. The mission's yours now, Shepard. Good luck. The hangar door opens once more, and Joker's voice rings out once more, signaling the start of everything that was to come. We are approaching drop point 2. As the hangar door opens wide, we step to the edge. The ship comes to a stop over a clearing, just on the edge of our target dig site. I quickly swallow my anxiety and lean on Jenkins' combat experience. My nerves calm ever so slightly and following Shepard's lead, the three of us step forward and drop to the planet below. We sweep the clearing, keeping our weapons out and ready. It was empty, though. The green grass and trees familiar to those on Earth filled this clearing, as well as a small pool of water fed by one of the planet's many creeks. From my Jenkins memories, I could recall how similar this planet was to Earth. Green land and plants, flowing water and blue sky. Halfway across the galaxy, and this place was a paradise similar to Earth in its prime. There was a reason why they called it Eden Prime, and it was burning. The sky that should have been clear blue was choked with thick black smoke and glowing red from the light of flames. I could feel part of myself that was Jenkins, that thought this planet was my home, crying out. Where were my parents? Where were they safe? What the hell are those? Caden's voice pulled me out of my thoughts as he gestures to a large creature floating just above the pool of water, green and organic. It was large and slow moving, but I recognized it right away. Gas bags, don't worry, they're harmless. I turned away from the creature and fell into step behind the commander. Caden was quickly behind me as we were preparing to move out. Keeping formation was second nature to us. This place got hit hard, Commander. Hostiles everywhere. Keep your guard up. Nihilus's voice rang out over the comms, encouraging our quickened pace. The clearing we had landed in was naturally concealed from the colony by steep hills and large rock formations. However, the creek followed a natural trailer that led out of the clearing and in the direction of the dig site. Shepard took the lead with Caden and I shortly following behind. Rounding the corner, we got ourselves the first view of the settlement far in the distance. Steel buildings washed in black soot and orange flames. At least a kilometer from the nearest settlement structure, we had a good view of the city's destruction. I turned away to focus on the path ahead of us. I couldn't watch my home in this state without losing focus. Following our path through the tree line, we came to a narrow opening. We would have to squeeze through one at a time before continuing. Shepard raised her hand to signal us to stop before gesturing for me to take point. I take the lead, keeping my rifle raised as I step through the opening and peer on the more exposed side. This was it. I kept my eyes on the path ahead, waiting for the drones that were supposed to take my life. I continued stepping forward, not bothering to glance back at where Shepard and Caden would be following behind me. They were not important right now. It was fast and sudden. The pair of drones flew around the corner, hard and fast. They were small, similar in shape to an eye. They were metallic shell affixed to a camera or lens for viewing its surroundings. With a rifle hung below the main structure as the only protrusion, they were small and indistinct. Both drones had their weapons trained on my position. Instead of raising my rifle to fire, I hit the button on my Omni tool to activate my shield boost. As I did so, I started stepping sideways fast towards the corner of a large boulder. 4, maybe 5 rounds from the drone struck home. 3 across my chest, 1 to my right arm, and another off the top of my helmet. Thanks to my boosted shields, they held up under fire. Only cracking those last 3 rounds struck my arm and helmet. The pain was instant and sharp. While the plasma rounds ricocheted off my helmet, it made the impact on my right arm. It, thankfully, did not breach the armor. The advanced plating and material converted the heat energy of plasma rounds into kinetic energy on impact, dispersing across the area it landed. While it's great at preventing burns and reducing the max damage, it still only protects you to a point. As such, I could absolutely feel the area where it hit my arm. While I was confident it wasn't broken, it still hurt like hell. Pain was a cheap price to pay, though. I'd take being alive over dead any day. I adjusted my grip on my rifle, leaning around the corner of the boulder I'd taken cover behind. I engaged the drone, spraying one of the 2 of them with energy rounds. Shepard and Caden had fully cleared their way into space and were engaging as well. And quickly, both drones were disabled and fell from the sky. They rested on the ground for a moment before exploding again into a small burst of plasma, leaving little to no trace of the drone behind. Jenkins, you good? Shepard called out, rifle still raised in the direction the drones came from, waiting for more hostile targets. All good, Commander, just a glancing blow. We should be more mindful of covering moves forward. I managed to hit my shield boost in time, and they still ripped through them. In only a couple rounds, Caden walks up to where I had slid into cover and offers a hand, helping me to my feet. What the hell were those things? I hadn't seen a drone styled like that used in any of the Traverse races. They're unfamiliar to me, too. How about a resident tech expert? Any clues on what we're dealing with before we push forward? Shepard lowers the rifle as more contacts appear and walks over to join where we had grouped up. I'm not sure, but if I had to make an educated guess, I'd say they're Geth. Geth? They haven't been spotted outside the Vale in centuries. What the hell are they doing here? Caden's reaction was harsh, but I expected as much. By all rights, there is absolutely no reason for the Geth to be out here. But I know things they don't. The fact is, we're dealing with a group of Geth that decided to worship and follow the Reaper Sovereign. Not all the Geth agreed with this choice and remained in the Vale, but that detail doesn't matter for a couple of years still. Are you sure about this, Jenkins? If these are Geth, then the mission is already FUBAR. We need to find the beacon and evacuate ASAP. Shepard, ever pragmatic, pushes for more intel. Can't reveal too much, but I need to make it believable. Am I sure? No, of course not. By all rights, it shouldn't be Geth. But they're the only race I can imagine packing that kind of firepower into that small of a drone without anyone knowing about it. If it was one of the other races, then word would have spread that something like that was at least in production, much less functioning for combat. She listened intently and stops to think for a moment. Evidently, she comes to a conclusion as she taps her comms channel and radios out to Nihilus and Captain Anderson. This is Commander Shepard. We've made contact with hostile drone units. We have reason to suspect there may be Geth in origin. Prepare AI protocols as a precaution. We are proceeding en route to the beacon. Geth? Damn it. Understood, Commander. Continue en route and maintain precautions. Anderson's voice comes back, followed quickly by Nihilus. Understood. One word response, because he's a goddamn professional. Jenkins, you're our engineer. Are you in good enough condition to continue? Yes, Commander. Slapped on some mighty gel, and I don't even feel it. A crack again that hopefully can be heard, since our helmets conceal most of the face. Judging by the slight shake of the shoulders indicating a chuckle, it got through just fine. Then take point. I want you to keep a mental note of whatever we encounter here. Your technical expertise will be essential when we follow our report. Yes, Commander. I raise my rifle and step back out into the open, moving up the trail towards the dig site. Caden and Shepard fall into step on my flanks. I managed to survive where I was supposed to die. Now, all that's left is the rest of the 80-plus hour game franchise that takes place in a galaxy-wide conflict over the course of 3 years. One that'll be at the center of thanks to my place aboard the Normandy. As I move forward, I quell those feelings. There'd be a time to overthink my likely death later. For now, I need to survive the rest of this mission. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how I'm doing, as this is the first series I've done, so please let me know. I hope everyone has a good day, night, whatever. Hope everyone has a good one. Cheers. Still don't have a proper ending.